Randomly browsing Webtoons many moons ago, I came across a webtoon called Unlovable Replacement. Though the art looked decent enough and the premise of a good-looking guy being dumped and calling a pizza girl over to then pay her extra to get her to pretend to be his girlfriend in front of his ex, well, I wasn't blown away by that, sure, but it did kinda sound hella entertaining. So 30-something odd chapters later, and many months later, I am here to give you my first impressions on Nylana's impressively hit webtoon at 1.1 million subscriptions, Unlovable Replacement. But did you know, 90% of you watching this video right now are unsubscribed? Did you also know we are less than 5 subscribers away from reaching the 1K subs mark? Well, if you haven't, please be sure to subscribe and ring the bell. Help me get to that milestone and I'll do something special for a future webtoon video, among other things, which we will talk about at the end of this video. Let's get into the beginning of this video. So first off, this webtoon isn't something you should go in expecting the most cutting edge, breaking the mold entertainment out there. This is squarely within its own thing, and it works really well within that thing for the most part. This series isn't a mold breaker, it's the mold itself, if that makes sense. Oftentimes, the characters will even do this thing where they will acknowledge how corny some things are about it. And oh boy, is this webtoon one giant cornball of a romance series. So many corny lines like "I hear every comma in your bank account adds an extra inch to your dick" are not few and far, but often and happen quite regularly. This even applies to the art itself, with some characters having an absolute smug look on their face or are presented in the most over-the-top manners. Yeah, this inevitably does harm some of the enjoyment if you don't like that kind of thing. It will get really bad to the point where I've set this series down 2 or 3 times because I was kind of overexposed and got tired of how corny this webtoon can be. This will be the issue people will have with this series most often, as the series makes no effort to curb or sometimes soften the corny dialogue at any points. This almost makes the series unbingeable in an era of entertainment where everything is bingeable. Instead, I often find it's better to read these episodes week to week or in 3 episode or so bursts. Now, while I do have criticisms about it, I think the ultimate charm of this webtoon is that it leans into the cheesy dialogue and story. While it is laid on too thick at times, there is something really enjoyable about this webtoon style and how it seems to have this shit-eating grin on its face all the time. Sometimes literally, as many characters will wear that look with pride. But like I said, this ends up being in a weird way a charm for the webtoon. The main biggest strength of the webtoon I find is the characters have such phenomenal character interactions and dynamics. I think this is why I keep coming back to this webtoon over and over, because I am never let down in this regard, and more often than not, I'm left more intrigued by a character in their relationship with others. Take for example, November May. Yes, that's her name, and her name is awesome. I wish that was my name. And her connection to Chico Dyer's ex, Millie. Now, I won't say much here, as that would spoil what I consider to be a great part of the webtoon, but I am fascinated about their connection and how their relationship is handled in this series. If anything, this may be one of the more interesting aspects for me, only because I really like November's character and think she has a lot of potential as the series continues to move forward and develop her character. Now, as for Chico, he is a solid main character, just like November. But with Chico, I find him to be really entertaining. In the beginning of this series, he is a total wreck of a man who smells bad, looks bad, and just got dumped, so he probably, give us some slack. The man, he probably feels bad. But like every character in Unlovable Replacement, Chico is still able to retain this unstoppable swagger and charisma that is almost infectious to a fault. But what keeps him on the rails is his interactions and relationship with November, as he bounces off really well with her outside of some questionable dialogue we've already discussed. As for Chico's ex, Millie, she seems very mysterious. We don't know much about her, except for what we know about with her experience dating Chico, but they seem to be really just bored of one another, and Millie just wanted to end it. And from there, it seems like she didn't find breaking up with him really hard, and more often than not, when we see Melly, we see her with this great stone face. I am eager to learn more about her backstory and to see how her role develops in this as well. Currently, they seem to be really focused on developing November and Chico at the moment, while opting to have these side characters develop around them. Now, Nook, on the other hand, I can go less with. And I don't mean to sound harsh. I'm honestly indifferent to him ultimately, but I think it's the dialogue which keeps me from enjoying Nook to his fullest, which is a shame because I can see why he's in the webtoon and how important his role is to Chico and the overall story Nylana is trying to tell here. At the end of the day, I have my criticisms about the dialogue, and I think this issue I have with Nook extends into that more than it being a Nook specific issue, if that makes sense. But I do have to respect the man. He has a beautiful pet turtle, and if history has shown, having a pet turtle is the best because turtles are the best, and 90s reference inbound, I like turtle. Hey yo, Danny Carvey, let me holla at you sometime. We could talk about turtles later, or Nook. It doesn't have to be Dana Carvey. Overall, while I do have some criticisms about Unlovable Replacement, there's something here that is really special. The dialogue may be tough at times for me to really appreciate and not cringe at, but the characters and story really are interesting beyond the words they speak. In just 30 odd chapters, Nylana has been able to craft a well-rounded set of main characters and is slowly developing our secondary characters through this fun plot. I am invested and ready to see how the story moves forward, knowing what we've seen so far in the series. And if you're wondering if I recommend this or not, I absolutely do. While I may not love everything about Unlovable Replacement, the fact that I'm this invested means there is something here worth reading and exploring to you, the viewer watching. But as we hit the end here, we're about to hit 1K subs, less than 5 subs away. If you guys can get me to 1K, I will review the anime series Bento on this channel. It only makes sense to review an anime I share a name with after all. As well, I will be uploading soon, this week or next week, my reaction to Sweet Home's last chapter, and then soon after, a full-fledged review for the webtoon itself. So if you haven't subscribed for that, ring the bell and leave a like on this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.